Hey there. I've worked on a farm since I was 14, and yet I find myself on a tractor realizing that in all those years of driving and riding tractors, I've never once taken the time to go through and read the safety labels that are applicable to what I'm doing. If I were to, just from this position, count the number of safety labels I can see, I would be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 safety labels around here that I have no idea what they say, and they're all positioned in the places where they are the most useful. This one here talks about the loader. This one here talks about general riding instructions. It even lists the different priorities in order of where the most accidents happen. Reading all 12 is great. Even the first 3 would keep me from accidents that could have already happened. And so, we're going to walk through what is there to be aware of in terms of tractor safety.
Okay. Welcome back to the Gearing Up for Safety program. Today we're going to spend a little time on lesson 4. The first part of it is we're going to talk about tractor operation basics. Another common problem, especially with young kids, is extra riders. And it's natural for young people to want to be on tractors. Kids find it fun for some reason to be on a tractor. Well, today we have cabs on tractors, so the natural assumption is they're in this cab, they're safe, they're not going to fall off the tractor because there's a cab around them. But we've had young people bump the latch on the door, and depending on the way your latch is designed, some of them you just lay it against that latch and it opens and you fall out. Now we also have tractors the newer ones have what they call instructional seats, or some people call it a buddy seat. It's really an instructional seat. If you have to have a young person in that tractor, you really shouldn't, they need to be in that buddy seat locked in. So then when we look at tractors, you'll see the clutch on tractors, which again is just a clutch that you push down or forward. Some tractors, older tractors, have independent brakes, and those you can lock together when you road travel with a little lever, so you get them locked in one. So when you push them, you don't hit one, because independent brakes will lock up one wheel or the other. And then you can see this is a manual type transmission from an older type tractor. Again, with gears where you have to shift using the clutch and the gear pattern. So now what are some of the most common fatalities? We talked about slips and falls being the most common injury. Well, what's the most common fatality? And that's overturns.
One in 10 farmers will overturn a tractor in their lifetime, which results in an average death count of about 130 farmers annually.
To make matters worse, 1 in 7 of these operators end up permanently disabled. And 7 out of 10 farms that are involved in a tractor-related fatality go out of business within 5 years.
And it happens when you get on slopes. You may tip it backwards or sideways. So let's look at some of the characteristics that contribute to upsets. So when we look at the center of gravity is the exact dead center of this tractor, weight-wise. So if I could divide this tractor in half, we'd have half the weight to the back, half the weight to the front. If I draw a line through the center, exact dead center, we'd have half the weight to one side, half to the other side. So it's the exact dead center of the tractor based on weight. So let's just say that point, just for demonstration purposes, is somewhere in this point right here. It varies on tractors based on if they're 2-wheel drive, front wheel assist, 4-wheel drive, where that center is. But if that is the exact dead center of the tractor, if that tractor starts to tip one way or the other, we have the base of stability. And the base of stability goes from your tires, then across the other tire, back to the other back tire, and then across. That's the base of stability on a wide front end tractor. Now when that tractor starts to, normally if you drop the line from this point down to the ground, it goes straight down. If that tractor starts to tip, then that point where the line hits the ground starts to move out. If that point moves to where it's now outside, anyway, say here or here, if it moves outside, the tractor's going to tip over. Now let's talk a little bit about the center of gravity and what happens when you change that center of gravity on a tractor and what things might cause it to change. Anytime you add a load to the front of the tractor, you're going to move that center of gravity forward. So if the load is in the air, you're going to move it forwards and upwards. Now, when the center of gravity gets higher, the tractor is more likely to upset. It's less stable. Now say we take that same bale, but we have it down on the ground. So we've added some weights to the front of the tractor. We basically put the bale down, or we add more weights to the front. What does it do to the center of gravity? In that case, it's still going to go forward, but this time it's going to move downward a little bit because we added more weight to the front of the tractor.